Humbling, incredibly humbling to look around this room and see people from so many walks of my life, from the time when Jake was little, from the church I went to the people in my neighborhood, to the people, my fellow advocates and warriors on SEPTA and Teresa, to the fellow political advocates, and to just my family, the ones that I was born with, the ones that I chose, and the ones that chose me. I can't thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here today to support me as I put my run in for school board at large. Your love is why I do this. Your love is why I'm here. It's not for me, it's for the message that you all support and hear. So I want to say a few thank yous first to Eileen and Sharon and Chap, wherever you hope you're having a drink somewhere back there, right? And all of the other elected officials who came out here today. Ibrahim Samir, our newly elected delegate. Thank you for coming out here. Mark Keane is back there not wearing cargo pants, and if you don't know why, ask him later. Right? And we have Jeff McKay, Lead District Board of Supervisors. Thank you, Jeff, for coming out here. I really, really appreciate it. We've got somewhere back here, George Barker, somewhere else. There you are. I was looking for the green shirt should have given you it. Senator George Barker out here. And I'm saying that I'm grateful. Ryan McElveen was here earlier, Board of School Board. I think he had to leave for the Peace Awards, but he was also here. And I just want to say thank you. I know everybody, the senators, delegates, you are all busy, Board of Supervisors, Sharon. So thank you for coming out. I believe I have you here because I've shown you all that what I want to do is find a problem, find people to work with, and fix it. That's why I'm here. And it's not just a problem for disabilities, it's a problem in general. I want to thank Karin for those really kind words, and Tora for your kind words. But I want to thank my own daughter, Laura, who's not here, she's at college, and Jake, who's my muse, and who's the one who taught me that nobody should be seen for what they can't do, ever. Thank you, Jake. But even more than Jake, also before I forget, I want to thank all the candidates for office who are here. We've got a lot of them here. Melanie Merrim running for school board, right here. We have James Walkinshaw running for my own district, Valley District Board of Supervisors. We have Larissa Couts running for Board of Supervisors, right over here. Raise your hand if I call your name. We have Edith Keller running. Where are you, Edith, for Board of Supervisors in the Providence District? We have Shamli Hath running for Board of Supervisors. Where are you, Shamli? Back there somewhere. There you are. Over there. Raise your hand. Running for Board of Supervisors in Hunter Mill. We've got so many elected, great candidates. Stella Pekarsky. Where are you, Stella? There you are. Running for school board in the Sully District. We have Jung running for school board in the Providence District. Did I miss anybody? I think I got you all. Oh, and Chris running for soil and water conservation, who's pretty darn awesome. Listen to him talk, man. Right? And Erica, where are you, Erica? Erica running for Board of Supervisors in the Providence District. It has been my privilege in the last 6-8 months to get to know all of these wonderful, amazing candidates. We have a wealth of riches here in Fairfax County, and we are lucky to have so many amazing people running to make our world better. So if you haven't met them yet, go talk to them. They are awesome, awesome people, really, and all of our elected officials. So I want to say thank you to them, but even more than that, I want to say thank you to Jake. Because if I hadn't had him, if I didn't have my son, I wouldn't understand the need to use your voice to speak for those who don't have a voice. And whether it's you don't have a voice because of a disability, or you don't have a voice because you don't speak English well, or you don't know where to go, or you don't have the money, or the time, or the influence, it doesn't matter. If I have a voice, if I am able to speak, and I have the ability to stand in front of a room, I should use that voice for good. And that's what Jake taught me. And I want to thank my husband Craig more than anyone else. Actually, before I get to Craig, I want to thank Chris and Courtney, my stepson and my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, I hope. Not to put any pressure on Chris. No pressure, Chris. And the rest of my wonderful team, Kim Stewart, who came out to help. She's my volunteer coordinator, Laura and Al, who are my campaign manager and communications director, who are actually, ironically, on the way to India for a wedding. A little irony there. But they are also, they met working on Jerry Connolly's campaign and fell in love working on Jerry Connolly's campaigns. They're seasoned campaign managers. Thank you to Jerry Connolly's for, bringing lovebirds together. I want to thank Jeff Wilco. Where are you, Jeff? Who I've known for a long, long time. He's my fundraiser, and we've done great on fundraising. With one fundraising call, we've raised, a good amount of money, and the one fundraising call was to my mother. So, and she donated, don't worry, she believes in me. So, but finally I want to thank Craig. For a year now, I've gone to different events, and I've heard people speak, and I've come home and I've said, I think I should run. And he said, look, I'm 100% behind you, whatever you do, but you're not excited, so don't run. And I went somewhere else and I came home, I'm like, I think I should run. He said, I'm 100% behind you, don't worry, but you're not excited. And then the day I saw that Ryan McElveen announced he was not going to be running on the school board anymore, and I came home, I'm like, I think I should run. And he said, you're excited, let's go. All right, and that was it. That was it. And he's been 100% behind me every step of the way in so many ways. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I am not a politician. I'm here because I'm a parent, the only one running at large that has a child in our schools right now. My son is a sophomore. You saw him playing here, the long-haired rock star. Right, my daughter graduated 2 years ago. I am also an educator. I'm a college professor, for those who don't know. So if you're worried about what your kids need to know when they get to college, let me tell you, I know what they need to know. And make sure our schools teach them. I'm also a long-time advocate. You've heard people talk about my advocacy. And when I see a problem, I don't just fix it for my kid. When I see a problem, I don't just fix it for your kid. I fix it for all kids. Because just because my kid has me to speak for him doesn't mean other kids shouldn't have me to speak for them. Right? And that's why I'm here. I have a record of working collaboratively with stakeholders to get things done. And I want to share with you a little personal story of how I got here. Chap alluded to it briefly when he was on my step and talked about a personal issue that I have. And Martina, my neighbor and longtime friend, was there. But I want to tell you why I picked March 10th to do this event. March 10th was my first husband's birthday. And my first husband passed away of a brain aneurysm when he was 35, a year before Chap came knocking on my door. And so I picked today deliberately because this way he could have a voice in what I'm doing and a space here. And when he had a brain aneurysm and he was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and when we knew he wasn't going to make it, I made him one promise. I said to him, your kids will be okay. Now, Jake was 5 at the time. He'd only been diagnosed with autism a couple years before, and it was a scary, scary thought. I didn't know what okay meant for him. My daughter was 8. She had found my husband, so she was suffering a trauma. I didn't know what okay meant for her. But what I knew was that they would be okay. And 6 months later, when my son started kindergarten, and the school told me, I'm sorry, we don't want your kids here, I'm like, that's not okay. And I worked with the school to revise their process and how they opened classes for kids with autism to make sure they tried to keep them in their community with their peers. Because that's not okay to say to anybody, we don't want your kid here. And when my son was in 2nd grade and at his back to school night, I found his desk at a table in the back of the room with only the kids with autism and nobody else. I said, that's not okay. And I didn't just start with his teacher and fix it there. I lobbied for the Fairfax County Inclusion Work Group. I was the only parent on this work group. And we just revised the IEP forms that every single child will use in Fairfax County to focus on inclusion. It's not just for my kid. All kids must be okay. That's why I'm here. And when my talented musician son, who you saw him play here, was not even invited to audition for the talent show because they never assumed anybody in the autism class could have a talent, I said, that is not okay. And I argued him so much, they appointed me to the advisory committee with students with disabilities. Because the kids over there. Right? And we worked on inclusion, we worked on executive functioning. I have written reports to the school board, and I recently worked on transition, so when our kids leave our schools, they have a place to go. And then when my daughter, who is very, very bright, when she hit puberty, the trauma of finding her father on the floor came bubbling back. And the first thing the school wanted to say to me was, well, maybe we should take her out of her advanced classes. And I said, that's not okay. She's good at this. It gives her confidence. So instead, I worked with the school on developing more robust mental health services. So none of our kids are taken out of what they're good at because of a mental health issue. Because that's not okay. And finally, a year ago, when I found out that children with disabilities who are passing classes at grade level but could not get a standard diploma if they didn't pass their SOLs, meaning they could not go to college and they could not get federal student aid, when I found out my long-haired rock star son could not go to Berklee College of Music because he could not pass an SOL in biology, I said, that's not okay. And everybody, I talked to Eileen, and she said, we got to do this, you got to do this, and I believe in you, but there's a long road, and it takes time to make change. And I said, watch me. Watch me. And in 9 months, I got a new option for diplomas in Virginia that tens of thousands of students are going to be able to have their door to their future open for them. Now, I tell you all this because I want you to know, if this is all the stuff that I've done not on the school board, imagine what I might do on the school board. And that's why I'm here. Because in all these years that I've worked, I've come to realize that Fairfax County is a bucket system, right? If you fit in the bucket we put you in, you get a great education in our county. Right? We have a great county, I'm not trying to put it down, but if you don't fit in your bucket, we can do so much better. And that's why I'm here. For all of the kids who don't fit in their bucket, all of the kids whose voices aren't heard, all of the kids who have strengths, whether you're an AAP, Gen Ed, Special Ed, we should not make you feel stupid because you don't fit in the bucket we put you in. And that's why I'm here. And what do I want to bring to the school board? I want to bring a strengths-focused, holistic, and equitable education. Strengths-focused. We look at what you can do, and we start there, not what you can't do. I want to bring a holistic education that doesn't just focus on academics, right? But fosters all types of strengths. Academics, art, career and technical ed, vocational. Right? No student in Gen Ed should be made to feel stupid because they may not go to Harvard. Right? Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a strength. No kid in AAP should feel stressed. I think our mental health issues comes from the fact that we don't recognize all of our strengths. And we don't foster all of our strengths. And that's what I want on the school board. Holistic education. Civics education. For God's sakes, we need to know about our democracy.
Yeah!
But we need to know why we need to participate in our democracy. We need civics education. We need career and technical education. We need arts education. We need students who understand how to talk to somebody, how to live in a diverse culture. We need that in our schools. We need, and even more than anything else, we need to support the ones on the ground who are doing the work. We need to support our teachers and our staff. I have a reputation, and this is really weird, all right, so this is really, really weird, but I have a reputation with my teachers that I actually work collaboratively with them. And for a special ed parent, it's an unusual reputation, right? And I do this because I go to my son's IEP meetings every time, and I start with, and some of my son's teachers are here. They're kind of hiding, but I start with every meeting with saying, I'm not that parent. Don't worry, I'm not that, and I might be that parent. Little secret. But because our teachers are working hard, and our teachers, our school board's done a great job in working on pay, But pay is just the start. It's not the end. We have an atmosphere right now where teachers are afraid to speak up. They're afraid of retaliation. They're afraid to speak for their kids. And we need to fix that. The job of a school board is oversight. We need programs with peer mentors so that our teachers have a safe place to go for support. Our teachers need to be supported to do the job we want them to do. And we need to reduce inconsistencies across the county. Right? We have great programs, but they're so different from school to school. And as a parent, tied into parent groups, my fellow SEPTA moms, I see this every day. The differences in how our schools look. And the job of a school board is the oversight to make sure that those inconsistencies don't happen. To make sure we implement our programs equitably. So no matter who you are, where you come from, what language you speak, who you love, what gender you identify with, what race, disability, religion, and what zip code you live in, you should have an equal, high-quality education. I've heard Jeff McKay talk about the One Fairfax promise. That's what we mean by One Fairfax. Regardless of zip code, regardless of anything of who you are. And that is the job of a school board, right? That is the job. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, I talk a lot about disabilities, but one thing that's near and dear to my heart is juvenile justice. Right, and I've done actually a lot of work on juvenile justice. I organized a forum on juvenile justice with legislators in December. And here's what I found, is I found that we too often do not put in the positive behavior supports that we need for our children. I testified in front of the school board last year about the need for more behavioral interventionists. And thankfully, they're finally doing it. There was just an amendment put in for more behavioral interventionists. But we need mindfulness. Mindfulness reduces behavior issues. We need trauma-informed care so our kids who are suffering trauma understand get the care they need. We need positive behavior intervention. I have a friend who's a teacher. She said one visit from the behavior interventionist was transformative for her classroom. But yet, we are spending $2 million more dollars on counselors and $200,000 more on equity and behavior interventionists combined. There's an imbalance there. And the behavior interventionist helps our teachers make their classes better, right? We need to make sure that our hearing officers and our school resource officers understand their role, understand youth behavior. One of the things I worked on this year with Sharon Bolivar's commission last summer and community stakeholders is we made sure in Fairfax County, our police officers in our school can do their job to keep our schools safe with the appropriate training in disability awareness and implicit bias, and their roles limited, so we're not criminalizing youth behavior while providing a safe school environment. I worked on that last summer. Thank you for the opportunity, Karen Volva, for that. When I talk about voices aren't heard, it is all of those people who are punished for who they are, for their norms of their behavior, for the trauma they've suffered, for who they are. We need to stop punishing people for who they are. And I'll tell you, I bring the experience to this. A lot of you guys don't know my various roles. Not just I'm a parent educator advocate, I'm a long-time board member. I'm on the Community Services Board. We work on mental health and substance abuse issues, which is something near and dear to my heart. I'm on the Advisory Committee for Students with Disabilities. I'm also a former corporate attorney. I had somebody ask me once if I understood the finances of the budget, and I said I used to work on multi-million-dollar mergers and acquisitions. So I get the finances. I know how to manage a $3 billion budget. I used to do management consulting. I know how to make sure we are fiscally responsible, that we are implementing consistently with fidelity, and that as a school board, we know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and our schools know what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we're doing it in a way that's fair to everybody. I have a breadth of skills, a unique lens as a parent, and a lot of passion for getting this done. My parents immigrated here from India, and they came when there weren't a lot of people from India here. And so I grew up with people saying unintentional things that made me feel othered, right? So I understand the experience of someone who's LGBTQI, someone who is an immigrant, who doesn't speak English well, anyone who feels othered. I understand that. But my immigrant parents also taught me the value of education to improve your life. My dad was a Fulbright scholar to Stanford. My mom actually got a PhD in India in the 1960s in computer science when no women were doing this. So she taught me the value of hard work. And that's what I've been trying to pass on to students, to Karan, to my own daughter. I took her to her first protest when she was 12. We protested in favor of same-sex marriage when she was 12 years old. And I'll tell you, it's how I got my own start. I led my first protest when I was 16 years old. My high school was overcrowded, and I tried to go to the principal and said, hey, we're eating lunch in the rain, help us out. And he said, I don't know who you are, little 16-year-old, but I'm not talking to you. I said, fine. Pre-Snapchat, I made flyers and we all went to the beach for the day. Seriously, I've been doing this since I was 16 years old. I went to school at Berkeley. I'm trained, man, right? I'm trained. I'm here because I want to bring my passion, my desire for change, and my ability to get things done to a school board to make sure everybody gets an equitable education. My son now, the kid who wasn't allowed in the talent show, the kid who's at the back of the room. What I love, I want to thank Sammy Wallace and Shane Waldo and Kevin Bull. These kids have been playing music with my son, and none of them see him for his autism. They all see him as a brilliant musician and their friend. And I want every student in Fairfax County to have everybody see them for what they are brilliant at and as their friend. And that's why I fight for inclusion. When I talk about inclusion, I don't just mean for kids with disabilities. I mean everybody. Educated together, included together, because at the end of the day, inclusion leads to acceptance. And acceptance leads to love. And we need more love on our school board and in our schools. And we need every kid to be seen for what they can do. So nobody's future is limited by what they can't. That's why I'm here to run for school board. I hope I have your vote. There's an endorsement vote on May 21st. If you don't know the process, you need to be a member of the Fairfax County Democrats to be able to vote. So if you're a Democrat and want to join, there's information up here. May 21st is the vote. But I want to tell you one thing. When I told my husband when he was in the hospital, and I said, your kids will be okay, I never knew that okay meant my son would go audition on Broadway someday. And I want every kid's okay to be whatever their Broadway is. So I hope I have your vote. I hope I have your money. I hope I have both, because campaigns cost a lot of money and I hate asking for it, but I do need your support. I'm a grassroots candidate. I've never run before. I have lots of support behind me. Together, we can make sure every child has a bright path to their future. So please, vote for me on May 21st. My name is Rachna Sizemore Heizer. I'm running for school board at large. Thank you very much.